The Garden Report is powered by Prize Picks, the exclusive daily fantasy partner of the CLNS Media Network.
Hey, Bobby Manning here. Welcome to a practice edition of the Garden Report. Celtics back at Auerbach Center. Just getting some work in today. We'll have a full practice with players. Maybe some visuals on the court tomorrow. Of course, all we could do on a Kristaps Porzingis injury front was ask Joe, and that, of course, didn't go anywhere. Here's what he had to say about Porzingis today.
Just checking on Kristaps, obviously. What kind of things he's doing on the court these days? What is his progress like? And where is he at?
I don't know. I haven't seen him doing what he's doing specifically, but I know he's getting better each day. I know he's working hard, so I'll get more when I go downstairs when he comes in today. But he's progressing well, and he's working really hard to get back.
So everything is. There hasn't been any setback or anything like that.
No.
So, a little nugget of information versus our speculation. No setback for Porzingis, so that's a positive out of today. Certainly went on the radio yesterday and said that he's doing some individual workout over the course of the last series here. I didn't participate in the team setting of the shoot-arounds. So, we're 1 week from game one. Mavericks, Timberwolves tonight. Could be an opponent decided later this night. But as we stand here today, still no word whatsoever on whether Porzingis is going to be available for game one.
Yeah, I would guess that he will be available just based off the little tidbits that we have now, that he's ramping it up. There's another week off. And then he tweeted out something yesterday. It was in Latvian. I think everybody hit the Google Translate button, but it sounds like he said, see you in the finals, or I'll be back soon. So, just taking those little nuggets of not that much information, my guess is that we'll probably see him back game one, if not, game two or early in the series. I think the bigger question is, what version of him do we see? Is he available to play 30 minutes, or is he going to come in and just give them a little bit of something, a little bit of extra minutes off for Al Horford? I'd imagine he's not starting, but, I think there's a question around, what strength is he going to be at? Is he in game shape? Is he available to really contribute? Probably not at the level that he was before, but at any level that's still meaningful and impactful for this team.
Yeah, and I don't know what to take from the tweet. I don't know what to take from the updates here. It's all just very vague. And what you'd like to hear is he's in 3-on-3, he's on 4-on-4, he's progressing to contact, stuff like that, concrete stuff. I know Joe doesn't want to give it, but I also wonder if it's even there. Is he just still doing some of these individual workouts? Is he still slowly ramping up, as he said in the radio interview there? And if that's where he's at, keep going back to Giannis. 4 weeks out, he was at 30-40%, as he said.
Yeah.
Wasn't close, wasn't able to get out there. And so by the time the finals come around, as you've said and as I've said, I feel good about him being ready for game one just because of how much time will have passed. But if he's on a similar trajectory to Giannis, which it kind of feels like he is right now, at least based on his activity level through 3-4 weeks, you start to actually doubt a little bit whether he'll be out there, just a little bit. And again, I think he's going to be out there for game one as well. But none of these updates have made me super optimistic about it.
Yeah, I think it's still really vague. That's the reality of it, is that it's anybody's guess. There's also not really any incentive or reason for them to provide more details. I think it's smart to keep this close to their chest and to have, when the injury report is out on, next week, then we'll have a better sense if, if he's listed as questionable, if he's listed as out, if he's available. I would imagine he's probably going to be listed as questionable or something like that, and it'll really come down to the wire. And so I think you have to assume right now that we could be seeing either version of this team, a team with Porzingis or a team without him. And I'm sure the coaching staff is also preparing for both outcomes as they match up against, there's a lot of uncertainty here. There's a question of who's your opponent going to be, and also if he's going to be available. And maybe they do know definitively, but we also know this is a really tough injury to bounce back from. And as you said, Giannis took a little bit longer than they expected. I think he's probably taking a little bit longer than they expected as well. But they have to be careful, and they also have to make sure that he's actually good to be able to contribute. And so I could see this coming down to the wire for sure.
Yeah, and back to Porzingis' comments after the injury, want to get back at historic rate, want to get out there as soon as possible. And he talked during the year about if there's any chance he can play through something, he's going to do it in the postseason. And obviously to this point, Celtics have remained cautious, at least according to the reporting there. There was hope that he was going to be back for Game 4 of that Indy series. Again, according to the updates we have, it's tough to imagine that that would have been the case unless he was just really pushing it at that point. So I guess part of this too could be like, what's the urgency for him to come back? Do you even benefit by having him being back at less than 100%? Like, these are the kind of conversations, these are the kind of battles I think that go on, between team and player with injuries like this, especially at this stage of the postseason. Again, we're talking about them being 12-2 without him at this point. So I think they need him for the series, regardless of if it's Minnesota or Dallas, to win, or at least win handily, which you want to do. You don't want to be in a Game 6 or 7 of the finals, wondering which way it's going to go. So it'll be great to have him out there, but if he's not 100%, I can understand if there's any hesitation toward pushing him out there.
Yeah, and I will say, like, the Game 4 report, I don't know that the team knew they were going to be up 3-0 heading into that Game 4. Joe mentioned today there's a lot of uncertainty in basketball, and that a lot of times things come down to just a couple of plays, and that Neesmith 3 goes in. Maybe they fall 0-1. Maybe they lose 2 of their first 3 games. Maybe we do see Porzingis in Game 4. Like, we don't know if that was an option or if it was on the table or not. I do know once they were up 3-0, I can see why they would say, like, let's give him another 10 days. There's no reason to rush him back. That really, they were in a pretty good position there, and then obviously were able to pull off a sweep, so there was really no reason for him to have pushed it. But I do think the approach going into the finals is going to be different, and I would say if he's not available for Game 1, it's not because they're being cautious. I think he's just unable to be available, because everything that he said, like you mentioned, he really wants to be back out there, and this is the time that, he would be prioritizing coming back out there. So if he has anything to give, I think we'll see him at least in the lineup for Game 1.
Well, we're going to know soon. We're going to see soon if he's out there or not. Forward practices leading up to the NBA Finals coming up starting tomorrow here at Auerbach Center, so stay tuned. For those with us, we'll have all the coverage, all the updates here, as well as player quotes and interviews on CLNS Media, so subscribe there. Go to Celtics All Access for more of our content and podcasts leading up to the NBA Finals 1 week from today, and show our sponsors some love. So we prepare to go to Dallas or Minnesota for the finals. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS for a deposit match over there. Check out PXG for hats, polos, tees for the golf course this summer. Use the code GARNREPORT for a discount on your purchase over there. And of course, if you're looking for tickets for the finals or anything else this spring, go to Game Time and get a $20 discount on your first purchase with code CLNS. Terms apply. She's Noah Dalzell. Check out her work at Celtics Blog. I'm Bobby Manning for CLNS and the Garden Report. This has been a practice edition of the Garden Report. Hey, Bobby Manning here. If you made it this far, you probably enjoyed this video, so subscribe, turn on notifications, and check out our social media platforms at Celtics CLNS.